Johan Joubert is an Associate Professor of Industrial and Systems Engineering and a researcher at the Centre of Transport Development at the University of Pretoria. Johan, welcome to the Truckx show. How is the Internet of Things impacting on the global transport industry, and how has its advent affected local conditions?
I think the companies that do embrace the Internet of Things, for them, it's safe to say it's not going to be business as usual. Unfortunately, most companies are still figuring out exactly what this Internet of Things is, and it manifests itself, I think, in the South African industry, in companies generating vast amounts of data, and not quite knowing what to do with the data.
How will that affect the transport industry specifically?
At this point, I think it's just a hoarding of data. If they don't put it to good use in terms of running businesses more efficiently, it's like posting on Facebook. People don't charge for their posts on Facebook or posts on Twitter. So companies shouldn't see the data that they generate as a new commodity to trade in. I think it is, how do you use it? How do you provide useful information to your customers, to the industry at large, so that people follow you in the proverbial kind of Twitter kind of context.
Okay. And Uber has been called the world's largest taxi company, and the irony is the company doesn't own one vehicle. Is this the way do you think things are going to start happening in the transport industry generally?
And indeed, it is a fascinating, I think, concept. It's a fascinating business model. But as much as it is an amazing people-moving concept, one has to kind of only learn what is appropriate from Uber, in the sense that for Uber, the parcel is the customer, and the parcel gets on and off the vehicle by itself. In logistics, we need to handle the material. So what I think we can learn from the Uber model is their transparency in terms of how they run their business, and the dynamic pricing.
What's the future for telematics in South Africa's transport industry?
I think it opens up a huge opportunity for companies to track what is currently happening with their fleets and with their products. So it provides a huge amount of transparency. We've used technology in transport for a long time to be kind of prescriptive, to optimize our routes, to get better loads onto our vehicles. And then we kind of waited and see. And what telematics offer is the ability to track the current state. How do you deviate from those wonderful plans that you actually came up with? And if companies can use that telemetry to actually anticipate disruptions or anticipate deviations from the original plan and mitigate risk in the process, I think that's where the real value actually lies.
Is there a move towards that at the moment?
I think in the leaders in the industry, yes. But it's going to take some time to get to the tipping point where it becomes the norm.
In terms of urbanization, cities are changing. They're becoming far more dense, traffic congestion. Where will trucks fit in these new kind of cities that we have?
Absolutely. Everybody wants their fresh convenience goods at Woolies, but nobody wants to see a truck on the road. So what we need to do is civilize the trucks. And I really believe there's an opportunity for business to become more proactively involved in transport planning. When government talks about transport planning, they think about infrastructure planning, which is great. But when the logistics, the transport industry thinks about transport operations or transport planning, they think about day-to-day operations. And they'll have to change their mindset and become more proactively, I think, involved in how the road space, how the cityscape is being designed to actually cater for them.
And if you could make South Africa's roads safer, how would you do it?
Up enforcement. I think when the rules are clear and the rules are enforced, it brings about a certain amount of transparency and reliability in the system. So companies can spend a lot more effort not to think, how can we wangle this, but rather, hey, how do we innovate?
Johan, thank you very much for coming in. We do appreciate your time.
Thank you.